Does this sound familiar? You're out for a walk with your dog and you see another dog owner with their dog come around the corner. You see and you feel your dog start to stiffen up. Their head goes up, their tail maybe goes up, and your heart just sinks to the pit of your stomach because you know exactly what's about to happen. Barking, lunging, it's just really embarrassing. All you want to happen is for the ground to swallow you up, or maybe just to hide in the nearest bush. That might help. So what do? Well, you're feeling really embarrassed. So what do? You start apologizing to the other owner and telling your dog off so that that other owner can see that you've got this, you're in charge of this situation. But in the long run, is it actually helping your dog at all? Is that reactivity getting any less? These incidents just keep on happening. Sometimes it can be with every single dog you see. But for some people, it's for some dogs and not others, and you can't quite get your head around why. Either way, it's a bit of a nightmare, and it's certainly not what you had in mind when you got your dog. So let's have a look at what we can do about that. So the first question is, can a reactive dog actually be trained? Thankfully, almost always the answer to that question is yes. So what does reactivity mean? All it means is that your dog is showing a disproportionate response to a situation. So, for example, if another dog runs up to your dog and jumps into their face to play, and your dog growls to say, "Excuse me, buddy, back off," is that reactivity? Well, no, not really, because that's quite a proportionate response. It's fair enough, really. What if, though, you see another dog or a person on the other side of the road, your dog barks and lunges? Is that reactivity? Absolutely, yes, it is. In fact, even the dog that bounces about with massive excitement just at the sight of another dog or person, that's a reactive response as well, because it's a disproportionate response to the situation. So there are lots of reasons why our dogs can be reactive. The first one to have a look at is health, because if your dog is in any sort of pain or discomfort, it's a big contributor towards reactivity. So you know when you're feeling a little bit under the weather, you're not always going to be in the best of moods, are you? And it's exactly the same for our dogs. So once you've ruled out any issues with health, then it comes down to appropriate training. Will all dogs be able to deal with all situations? Well, no. Our dogs, like us, have got their own personalities. Some are more sociable than others, and some will have experienced trauma in their lives, which we always need to be mindful of and protect and advocate for them accordingly. But the outlook with the right management and training is really good. So how do you train your dog to stop being reactive? Now, the issue that we've got at the moment is if you look on YouTube and the internet, you get 1,000,001 different answers to these, some of which are based in science and fact and things that we know about our dogs and training them. And the others are based purely on assumption and ideas that are outdated and we know now to be untrue. It's an utter minefield out there. And a lot of the information that you find is downright dangerous. So let's start with the big elephant in the room, because this is something that if you've been looking on the internet, you will have, or on things like TikTok and Instagram, you'll have found a lot of people talking about this. And that is your dog being aggressive and or trying to dominate you and anyone else, or wants to be the alpha? The answer to those questions, so are they being aggressive? Almost certainly not. And are they trying to dominate you and being the alpha? Definitely not. Reactivity is usually due to fear, anxiety, and or frustration. Cases of true aggression, where the dog's motivation is actually to hurt another dog or human, are extremely rare. So what about this enduring idea that our dogs want to be the alpha and want to dominate us? Now, this myth began as a result of a study of grey wolves in captivity carried out in the 1930s and 40s. But the research was really misleading and is being debunked since. I'm not going to go into great detail. Just have a little search on alpha dog debunked or something like that, and you'll get an idea. But unfortunately, these kind of nice, convenient solutions tend to endure. And there are trainers out there, particularly, some of our highest profile trainers, Cesar Milan, Graham Hall, people like that. There are people that if you look for reactive dog training on YouTube, who might appear quite high up, who still subscribe to this outdated and frankly cruel theory. Let's think about it. If you've got a dog that is reactive due to fear, and you use something like jerking on the lead, using a slip lead, using a prong collar, using an e-collar, so you're adding, or even just shouting at your dog, actually, or squirting them with water, or shaking a bottle of stones in their faces, we are adding to the pain, discomfort, and intimidation in the situation. Is that going to help a fearful and anxious dog? Logic tells us that it can't, and that dealing with that underlying fear and anxiety has to be the way forward. And science and countless studies back this up. So, what can you do? The first thing is keep your dog under their threshold as much as possible. So this means managing a situation that your dog is in as well as you can to try and prevent the reaction from happening in the first place. So things like making sure you go for walks where it's really quiet, keep your distance from things that you think your dog is going to react to. And if they do start to, you feel that stiffening, you're looking at that body language, get them out of there. So the more your dog reacts to a situation, the more ingrained that reaction becomes and the more it's going to happen. Secondly, when your dog is reacting, their brain will be totally overloaded and it will be completely unable to learn a new and more appropriate response. So start training the skills which your dog can use to cope with difficult situations at home. That's going to be the best starting point. Work on increasing their optimism so they can cope with new and novel situations. Training the understanding that actually the things that are over there aren't necessarily your dog's business. So helping them to bring themselves away from the things that they're finding really difficult to cope with. And learning to listen to what our dogs are desperately trying to tell you. So understanding their body language. If our dogs feel listened to, they feel safer. And the safer they feel, the less they will feel they need to react. So creating a place of safety with us is so important. Reward-based training has been proved time and time again to work at least as well as the aversive training used by alpha type dog trainers. And it doesn't have the dangers in terms of welfare for the dog or for creating actually a more aggressive dog, which has been seen using the alpha type training. It really is an utter no-brainer. Of course, every dog is different, as is every owner. So this is something that you might need help with. Just click on one of the links in the descriptions and you can book a call to have a chat and we can come up with a plan that is going to work for you and your dog. What if you've got an older dog and they're reactive? So they're not a puppy anymore. Is it too late to train your reactive dog? Nope. So my own two dogs are rescued street dogs from Romania. They both came to me as reactive dogs and they were around 5 years old when I first got them. Training an older dog can be more challenging as the pathways in the brain that we use for learning are more fixed rather than this lovely kind of malleable spaghetti that you get to work with when you've got a puppy. But it's definitely achievable. What type of training is best from reactive dog? Now, we've kind of covered this, but it is so important, it's worth saying again. Purely positive and rewards-based. Training which makes your dog feel safe. Training which gets to the root of the reactivity and absolutely no aversive methods. No prong collars, no slip leads, no choke chains, no shock collars, no sprays, even water, no shouting, no loud noises. None of these are needed ever. The alternatives are fantastic and really work, but be prepared to take some time and effort with your dog. There are no magic instant solutions, but working with your dog on their reactivity will be one of the most rewarding things that you could ever do. Some of you may have used negative training methods in the past, or maybe you're currently using them. If that's you, just change your methods now. Maybe go and have a look at the website, book a call to have a little chat. Leave the guilt behind. You were doing what you thought was the best with the information that you had. But now you know better. So you've got a responsibility to do better. How do we distract a reactive dog? Well, as I said before, the key is to train your dog when they are calm and relaxed rather than when they're reacting. Your top strategy is avoiding situations where your dog may react wherever possible. But do you know what? Life happens. Sometimes you can't avoid a situation, or you make a mistake and your dog reacts. So first step, stay calm. Try dropping your shoulders, take a few deep breaths, and whatever you do, don't tell your dog off. This is not the time to worry about what the other person thinks. If you can, get out of there as safely and quickly as possible. Go home and give your dog time and space to decompress. This can take several days. Calm will be the key in these times. A long-lasting natural chew is a great idea. If you're in a situation where you have to go past the other dog, think speed and space. Go as quickly as you can and keep as far away as you can, preferably with something between you and the other dog or human. Finally, can a reactive dog be cured? I wouldn't say cured, and strictly speaking, they're not actually sick, but we can certainly do lots of things to help you and your dog have a happier, more fulfilling life together. So have a little look in the description. There's a link to book a call with me, and there's also a link to my website where you can find out more. Good luck.